What's up, guys? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Grownish. This is season 4, episode 4. The episode is titled Daddy Issues, and let's go ahead and get right into it. I actually want to start off by saying that this is actually an episode that I really did like, partially because the storylines were divided pretty much equally, I would say, to, an extent. Because it was not solely focused on Zoe and then a splash of someone else's storyline. We got to see a lot of Vivek. We got to see some of Nomi and Anna. Well, not so much Anna, but y'all know what I'm saying. But we did also see Zoe, of course. So we start this episode off with Vivek. He's in front of the board and he is trying to appeal his expulsion because, as we know, he is getting expelled from school. But even though he gave his speech, it did not work. The school has a no tolerance policy for someone who's dealing drugs on campus. So baby boy has gotten kicked out. And on top of that, the school is going to notify his parents that he has gotten kicked out of school. So when he's at the house, first of all, my first thought was, so who's going to pay his portion of rent? Because maybe he have a lot of money saved up, but I just want to know who's going to pay his portion of rent now, considering he's the one who kind of kept the house afloat during the pandemic. So we have everyone being supportive of Vivek, and they're just like, everything's gonna work out. It's gonna be okay. When it comes to his parents, though, he's so worried and stressed out because he knows that they are blowing up his phone now because the school has told them that their son is getting expelled, and he's freaking out. And Jazz, she comes up with the idea of, listen, they found drugs in the car that the white girl was holding. You need to change the narrative. You need to make it seem like those were her drugs and not yours. Now, I will say this. Considering what went down, she the one who was holding drugs. I don't even like Heidi like that. So if he were to blame her, I wouldn't even be mad. Okay, you know what? That's terrible. Let me not say that. Okay, so let me just go ahead and hop on over to Doug real quick because Doug is now the RA. So I guess because Aaron is no longer the RA, Doug is. But I thought that Aaron would still be working on campus to some type of capacity because he was going to get his master's degree. You know what? I don't know what's happened with Aaron because of that whole protest. So now I'm a bit confused. We'll see what's going on with Aaron. But Doug is now the RA, and there is a new freshman who is blasting their music. He knocks on the door, is like, hey, you got to turn that down or whatever. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that my music was that loud or whatever. Next thing you know, he notices that she's smoking in her room. He's like, you can't do that. And she's like, well, are you going to tell? And he's like, no, I'm not that type of RA. So I will say this. This girl, very pretty. However, Doug is now a senior. I do not have time for him to be falling for some freshman who's going to still be in college when he's in the real world. Let's go ahead and move on. We finally get to know me, you guys. And these are the scenes that I have been waiting for to happen with Nomi because she's the only one who is a single parent who is trying to raise a child as well as be in class, be in school. So she comes to the daycare and come to find out the daycare is closed. My only issue with this scene, I get why they did it this way. However, I feel like her daughter would have had to already be enrolled in the daycare because you can't just drop kids off at a daycare and then pick them up. They have to have proof that they have vaccinations. They have to have paperwork filled out. There's a whole thing when it comes to kids being in daycare. But I get it for the storyline. I feel really bad for her because she can't find childcare, which means that she's going to miss class. I think this was the first day. So after that, we hop back over to the house, and I already told you guys what Jazz had to say, but there is a ring at the doorbell, and Vivek is thinking that it's his parents. Oh no, sweetheart, it is Dre. He is there to rip Zoe a new one. He is pissed off. He storms in there, And he's just like, I have to, hear about you getting married in Mexico. What is that about? So keep in mind, all her friends are right there. And I completely understand that a lot of people may feel like Dre was completely out of line because he should not have embarrassed Zoe in front of her friends. First of all, real friends, y'all should just went on ahead and left the room, because that situation, you can tell that he was hot when he hit the door. Okay? You could tell that Dre was hot when he hit the door. Y'all should have went on to y'all rooms and left Zoe where she was, first of all. Secondly, yeah, finding out that your child has gotten married in Mexico, that is kind of a big deal considering it's marriage. Like, come on now. And he had to find out because of a credit card charge. That's kind of a big deal, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that I stand completely with Dre, but I do understand where he's coming from as a parent. Now, Zoe is trying to explain herself and everything that happened. Aaron is no help in this conversation because he mentions the jail situation, and when it comes down to her going to jail, she says that, oh, Aaron and a couple of other, people needed to be bailed out or whatever. Not admitting that she's the one who actually did time in jail. So Dre goes on this rant about how Zoe keeps messing up, right? And how she has, she messed up when she dropped out of school, when she cheated on her test, and now you're getting married in Mexico. Like, he does not know who his daughter is anymore. And I will say that is an awkward transition that happens when you become an adult. Or at least I'm putting air quotes on adult, because really, you're not a real adult until you're about 25. I'm just going to be honest. Don't let, don't let people lie to you and be like, you're an adult when you're 18. Baby, listen to me. You can turn 18 all you want to. And by the time you turn 25, that is when it hits you like, you know what? We were playing grown-ups. We were not actually adults. But that's a whole other video that I can definitely talk about. As far as Zoe goes, though, her feelings were absolutely hurt because, first of all, Dre, he comes in hot, like I said. He didn't really give her a chance to fully explain. Aaron wasn't really helping the situation. It was just a lot. And I feel like if he would have heard the entire story, well, actually, no. Because her getting too drunk in Mexico and getting married, that situation never is going to sound right. It's not. I'm trying to justify it. It's never going to sound right. But I will say that Zoe has definitely landed on her feet a lot more times than not. But also that has to do with the writing, because their conversation that they have later, I'll get into that a little bit deeper. So we actually see Dre have a conversation with Vivek. And Vivek is just kind of giving him a hypothetical, but it's really about him. What can a child do that will make a parent no longer want to, love them? And Dre is basically saying that, there's not really much that a child can do to make you stop loving them, but there are things that your children can do that will make you question yourself as a parent, because it's like, dang, like, that is not the person who I raised. And it's true. Sometimes the way our parents see us and the values that they instill in us, we completely ignore. Let's admit that, you guys. Let's admit that we have definitely ignored some of the things that our parents have taught us. Our parents have taught us right from wrong all the time. And half the time, what do we choose? The wrong. But at the end of the day, we all have to make our own mistakes and we have to learn from them. When it comes to like Vivek's situation, though, him coming from immigrant parents, people who have to work so hard just to even leave their home country, come over to America, work hard here, and then for him to be able to, see a successful life, because they always want their children to be better than what they are. And for him to be like, oh yeah, I've been drug dealing since I've been here. My question is, how did he even get started in the drug game at this point? Like, who put Vivek on to selling drugs? That's my question. So Dre just kind of lets him know, though, that, your parents, they will always come around. They will always love you. It's just that sometimes we don't exactly know how to deal with who you guys become. So, we actually get this scene next of Anna and Nomi. First of all, Anna came in hot, and I'm not even understanding why. You see Luna, she's there. Luna is so big now. Nomi is stressed the hell out, and Anna is over here spazzing like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you text me to take notes. I'm so busy and stressed out trying to take notes for myself." And I'm just like, "Girl, if you taking notes for yourself, all you have to do is send her a copy. Why are you acting like this?" Secondly, Nomi is like, "Listen, I'm already under enough stress because the daycare is closed. I don't have any type of support system here that can watch Luna." And honestly, this is why when I was reviewing the show last season for 3B, I was just like, why is it that Nomi is moving in with her friends who are college students? They are not about to watch her baby. They're not about to be her support system. Her friends are not about to step up and be this village for her. They have their own lives to live. So that always blew my mind that we had Nomi come back and move in with them. It makes no sense. So Anna is asking her, like, okay, well, you need to go ahead and find a babysitter. And Nomi is like, when am I going to have time to do that? I'm running around here. I'm raising my daughter. I have to study for the LSATs. I have my classes. I have a lot going on, and it's just me. Phil said that he did not want anything to do with me or my daughter. Now, you guys, I just feel like the guy that we met who was Phil, I did not see that coming from him, and that's a terrible situation. But also, Nomi brings up the fact that, it was hard to be back at home with her parents, but she had 24-hour support with her daughter during the pandemic because her parents, that's their grandchild. They're going to step in if she has to study. I'm pretty sure the grandmother or grandpa will take her baby so that way she can really focus. And my only question was, I wish that she would have worked it out with her parents to be like, hey, can you guys just keep her? And I understand this is just a suggestion. Um, but I would not have been mad if her parents would have kept her daughter and been like, listen, I really need to focus on finishing school right now. Like, we should have gave her a conversation with her parents to be like, I really need to finish school right now. I can't handle it with the baby, with school. It's not going to work out. Because I'm pretty sure her parents would gladly take her kid for a semester. What is it, a semester or two, a year, whatever. So that way she can finish school. Come on now. Like, I would not mind if that happens later down the line. Because when we first saw Nomi come back, I definitely thought we were going to have a postpartum storyline. But that's not what we got. But even with this, I just feel like this is a lot for her to handle. Even if she does get a babysitter. And I'm pretty sure that her parents live on like the East Coast or something. I don't think that they live in California. But if they do, that would be kind of weird. They must live on like the East Coast or something. So, yeah. I just wish that Nomi would be able to get all this under control because she does deserve to graduate from college. Come on now. All right, so we hop back on over to Vivek. He is explaining to his parents everything that happened, how he, was drug dealing and all this stuff, how he was about to quit and, everything. His mom, she still loves her son. She accepts him for who he is and wants to build a relationship with him. However, his dad, on the other hand, has no respect for him. It feels like we've worked so hard to get you to this school and help you all the ways that we could, and this is the way you mess it up. He basically disowns Vivek, and that really does hurt him. I can't even imagine being disowned by my parent. Like, I could never be disowned because that would break me. That would literally break me. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to this conversation between Dre and Zoe. So before Dre can even say anything, Zoe is like, listen, contrary to what you just said out there and how you just embarrassed me, I have not called you once for anything. Now, you guys, that is one thing that I have always given a side eye to Grownish about. Because I completely understand the idea of these kids. They are growing up. They don't want to be, in their parents' shadow anymore. But a lot of the things that Zoe has done is definitely something that you would kind of talk to your parents about. For example, her dropping out of school, like the way she did to pursue her career, I definitely could have seen her at least talking to Rainbow and be like, Mom, I know that like you finished school because you wanted to be a doctor and all this stuff. But for me, I want a career in fashion and you don't need a degree to, work in fashion as a stylist. And look, I have these clients. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Like, I would have loved to have seen that, but that's not what we got. Um, on this show, it is solely focused on these young adults. So she has never called her dad for anything. And I just feel like that was more so of a writing thing versus Zoe's actual character. Because considering how Zoe's character is and how everything is me, everything circles back to how she's feeling and how she always has to be right. Um, there has definitely been some situations that I feel like she would have reached out to her family about. Just saying. But I do respect this conversation that she is having with Dre, letting him know that, I may not always do things the way you want me to do, but I am figuring it out. I'm able to, you know, stand on my own. When it came down to me dropping out of school and then re-enrolling in school, yeah, I figured it out. I had to play catch up, during the pandemic. And I did it. So Zoe is just letting her dad know, like, listen, I'm going to be okay. You don't have to sit up here and think of me as an embarrassment because, yes, I made mistakes, but I'm also fixing them. And Dre, all he can do is accept it. He realizes that his daughter is now able to stand on her own. She is an adult. And, of course, he still loves Zoe. Of course, he, questions if he loves Junior, but he loves Zoe. Now, let's go ahead and move on to this scene of Doug and what's this boy's name? Luca. So Doug is over here describing this new girl that he met and how her body is. You guys, why did they write this in the script? I was so over it because that girl was built just like Zoe. Like, straight up and down. There was no real curves. Baby girl was wearing a blazer. What was he talking about? What body yaddy? She had that. What are we talking about? Anyways, come to find out, who is this girl? She's actually Luca's little sister. How is it that Luca has never mentioned to anybody that, oh yeah, my sister's going to start here soon? Or I would have even respected it more if his little sister would have ran into Zoe and been like, oh my gosh, hey, you go here now? Because her and Zoe may have known each other, just by FaceTiming each other when she's talking to her brother or something when they dated. You know what? Let me stop because clearly I need to be a writer for TV and not just a viewer. But Doug and I think her name is Kayla or something like that. Doug and Kayla basically pretend like they do not know each other. They did not smoke with each other. She just happens to know that he's her RA. Now, only thing that I can say is I do not want Doug to be dating a freshman. Like, couldn't he find somebody else today who's also a senior? Like, this man, he can buy alcohol. He can go do whatever he wants to do. She's, 18 years old? No, let's not do this. Let's go ahead and have him move on to somebody else. Or let's have him get back with Jazz. But honestly, I feel like they pushed those characters so far away from each other. At this point, I'm not even sure if it's possible for Doug and Jazz to get back together. Just because they made him ridiculously disrespectful to Jazz to the extent that I don't even think Doug would be that disrespectful. But I digress. Let's move on because we go back to Anna and Nomi, and Anna has taken it upon herself to research some people, get a full list of possible babysitters for Nomi, And I feel like she really stepped up in the friend category for Nomi because she could clearly see that Nomi is having a hard time, and Nomi definitely appreciates all the things that Anna is doing. So we next see a scene of Zoe and Vivek. She's getting him something to drink or whatever. She's like, no matter what happens, having a college degree, that's not everything or whatever. So she doesn't know what happened after his meeting with his parents. And he tells her that his father hates him. He starts to cry, and then he cries on Zoe's shoulder. I said, wow, this is probably the first time we've seen Zoe not talk about herself and make things revolve around her, and she's actually being there for somebody else. And we actually ended the episode with Anna and Nomi doing interviews with the possible babysitter. That was pretty much the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. I enjoyed it. The next episode, it looks like it's really going to go there, and I'm so ready to see that. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.